Hey guys, and welcome back to the podcast. We have ourselves back, me and George today. So I'm joined by George, which is fantastic. We haven't been together for at least a month, I think. So This is the reunion, and obviously George is several pounds leaner than the last one we recorded. He's now got super stripy ass as opposed to slightly stripy ass. So this is good.
Lovely, absolutely lovely.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic, and obviously this is eagerly anticipated as always from you guys. And I think George has reiterated this in a lot of his YouTube videos, but we do really appreciate every bit of support that George gets, and obviously kind of we get as a working partnership, I guess, in the sense that people are willing to follow the prep and be really invested in what George is doing, and they want to ask questions. Some of them being stupid,
yep.
Some of them being advantageous and help us both. I think like they help us think and help me think about the processes that I'm doing with George. And obviously people, as many eyes as we can have on George is good, but ultimately, his eye, my eye, working together, that's the main thing that we're looking at. And I think that we've made, especially over the last since we last spoke, really, mate, I think the last month has been pretty fucking pivotal, if I'm honest, with your prep. And we'll obviously get
100%.
into that in a lot of detail in this update. So, George, how's things going recently since we last spoke? I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, if I'm honest. So give the guys sort of a little bit of a roundup and cover anything that perhaps you haven't maybe covered in any of your YouTube videos. If there's anything you think perhaps you haven't covered as in depth as you could do in a 20-minute YouTube.
So I'm trying to think about what I do differently or anything, but it's the same old shit, eating, training, sleeping, doing the usual kind of stuff. I think, obviously, of course, one thing we identified is that I slowly started to fade like a week or two back, maybe like 2 weeks ago, starting to notice just my physique just looking blurry, watery, and just ugly. Like, I remember checking in with you and I was like, mate, I'm not happy with these photos this morning. I look absolutely atrocious. And I know you'd always be honest with me. I was like, I look fucking shit. Like, my legs normally, like, bang. Like, my legs are, I ain't got the biggest legs, but they looked way better than what they were. And I was like, what is going on here? My midsection was awful. Lower back was awful. And then you told me straight. You told me, look, what's going on here? We need to sort this out. And of course, we implemented the diet break, which, like, oh my god, this is the best I've ever felt. Like, 3 weeks from a show, I should automatically assume that I should be feeling dreadful, but I'm feeling probably the best I felt in this whole entire prep. And now I'm in a stage of where, I come out of diet break, and now we're just reversing calories. And I'm sitting here now on train days eating 3,000 calories, and performance in the gym, that kind of draggy feet feeling is like just gone, and I'm fucking I don't even notice my videos. I'm chirpy as anything. I
can notice the difference, mate. I watched your most recent one today, and like the power of your voice is much better. Like the effort that your body basically, like when you're on the lower food, your body's just trying to save everything. Like, you don't want to expend energy doing anything. So even just like voice and tone of voice, it saves energy through that. Like, you'll find, like, if you were having conversations with your girlfriend or, your mum at home or something, if there was a question where you didn't have to speak and you could just use like that or that, you do that way more frequently because you just don't want to speak.
I still do that now.
Yeah, of course you do, man. You've still got lines in your ass. You're not finished yet. But yeah, you notice a huge difference, and I think it's just shows the power of like carbohydrate, doesn't it?
Really? Oh yeah, and the feeling of just feeling like I'm so used to not feeling kind of normal that I've kind of got used to it. That when I do feel different, like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, last week or so, I felt so much better with myself. I'm actually going, wow, is this what actually feeling normal? Is that what it feels like? And God knows what it feels like when I have more body fat on me. Like, I had someone message me going, wait till you finish all your shows and you add that additional like 5 pounds in body weight and you gain a bit of fluff. The difference is, if you think you're normal now, you wait till you gain that extra 5 pounds, you're going to feel absolutely unreal. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm so used to feeling in the gutters most of the time, mate. Not going to lie to you. But no, the past couple of weeks or so, or week and a half, has been really, really good for me. Like, the best I've ever felt. And I've always thought, like, I love suffering. I've noticed that I love suffering. I'm the type of person that I want to suffer. Like,
I know.
I feel like, and I have clients as well, the exact same. They feel like when they're dieting, they need to actually suffer. Like losing weight, you don't need to suffer. I mean, of course, to get to the point I'm at, you have to suffer to some degree,
A bit, yeah.
but you don't need to suffer more than what you need to, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I'm very much guilty of that. And you know I'm guilty of that. I'm doing more steps, more
Yeah.
output when I don't need to be doing that. It's just all in your fucking brain. But when you're on prep, your brain you go nuts in your head. And it's a psychological battle, mate. But no, honestly, generally, I'm really, really good. Best I've ever felt, really, on this. Well, not best I've ever felt, but on this tire prep for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for me. Same old shit, kind of routines in place. Bed by 10 o'clock, getting my good 8 hours sleep, doing my cardio in the morning, whatever it may be, on my steps. Nice little routine in place. Anything outside of my routine, I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what? Like, even if it's like 30 minutes out of my routine, I'm like shitting myself.
Yeah.
Other than that, same old shit, all good. How about yourself, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'll get into myself in a sec. I actually have one question, like personal question of mine. But obviously, being at your first prep, like, what would you say is the biggest difference for you in the sort of like the magnitude of dedication and time and things like that it's taken from comparatively from like the last diet which you did, which was like I think last year you got pretty lean, but in like an extended sort of mini cut thing that you just did to sort of resensitize. What would you say is the biggest difference in either your mindset or the way you've approached day to day, or just the task of getting as lean as you are now comparative to just sort of getting like, yeah, you were pretty lean, like on a beach on a holiday, you'd stand the fuck out and people would be like, wow, you're pretty shredded, mate. But what would you say is like the biggest difference from your perspective, whether it's what it takes or whether it's how you feel comparative to that?
It's just knowing I'm competing, knowing I'm going to stand on stage and be up against people. And it's as well as that, it's social media now. Like, people know I'm competing, so I need to fucking bring my A game as well. Like, that pressure, which I've almost experienced in the last like 6 weeks or so, with people telling me, like, that's like people telling me first place. I'm thinking, fucking hell, I've never stood on stage. You don't know who's going to turn up on the day or anything like that. That pressure, it does fire me. And I do, obviously, I'm not competing just for the fucking sake of it. I want to win. I don't want to come second or third, but just having that end goal now of, right, I was standing on stage, I've got that pressure from social media, being in that routine, nailing everything down. It's just, it just falls into place. You kind of get that routine deeper. As you get deeper into prep, you find just routine just falls into place, and you don't want any change. And I think one of the best things I've learned on this prep is that routine needs to be in place, for sure. And that's my biggest difference.
I know your adherence like to this has been ridiculous, like crazy adherence. In the past, I know in some of your YouTube videos, it might have been in like gaining phases, or maybe even perhaps in a diet. You might have been prepared to admit it. You did have some days where you just like refeed randomly on some like random meal, and also like pick at things like those little Weetabix minis that you used to have, and you just chuck a little bit, or you chuck a bit more Cadbury on your oats, things like that. Would you say that just because you're competing and you know that you're getting your ass on stage, that's been the main change in terms of your mindset and like not doing those kind of things?
Definitely. I think about my competitors, and I think about what you done in your prep. I think about what others do, and people aren't sitting there fucking, I just have a little bit of chocolate in my oats, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's not, for me, that's not a winner's kind of mindset. If I stood on stage and gone, right, I've won this show, but last night or the couple of weeks ago, I was having a bit of chocolate in my oats, and then I was shoving a little bit of Weetabix minis on top of my fucking oats as well, and then I was just dipping in this, dipping in that. I feel guilty as shit. I'd feel guilty as shit, you know what I mean? So I think, I've been guilty in the past of doing these like little refeeds, or I used to have a terrible fucking relationship with food, not gonna lie to you, a terrible relationship. And I used to go off in these little stints of just eating shit, and then kind of dropping my food down the next couple of days to compromise for it, and it'd just be a vicious circle, which we've all done before. But now obviously I've got you in my corner, and of course I just knowing that if I stood on stage knowing I didn't suffer and give it my all, I'd be gutted. I'd be gutted. And if I came, I want to stand on stage and like, right, I gave it my fucking all. I didn't binge, I didn't eat all this shit. I really kind of put in that groundwork, and I've always said that will reward no matter what. And I've I've definitely already achieved something in my personal, like, straighted glutes. Like, I never knew my glutes were as impressive as what they are.
Yeah, they're
Like,
good.
I'm not saying they're fucking really, really impressive, but
Split squats paid
they're
off.
more, yeah, they're more impressive than what I thought. Because I
Yeah,
thought I had really small glutes.
yeah,
As
there
only
you go.
you. You
Yeah, yeah,
told me
yeah.
when my first little check-in after Ultimate Fitness, you told me my glutes were
Glutes are
tiny.
small. Yeah.
I think actually my glutes aren't that small, to be
No,
fair.
they've
They're
held
just,
on well. Yeah,
yeah, really well.
yeah,
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in regards
yeah.
to that.
And I think
But yeah, sorry.
what people could take from that potentially is that having someone in your corner who you not blowing smoke up my ass here, but like having someone in your corner who you kind of like look up to a little bit and find or source motivation from, and know that you can't lie to them, and know that you can't like get behind the back or anything like that, or do something that's off plan, is
Yeah,
huge. Because like I knew you from the start, like I knew that you'd done all these things in previous diets, but if I'm sat here being honest, I had no concern about those things because I knew you wouldn't lie to me, and I knew like from the first time that you came up to Brum, I was like, this is someone. I told Danny, I even said to Danny, I was like, this is someone who's just gonna stick to everything that I tell him to do, and
yeah,
that's why you're where you're at, and you say that repeatedly, and you. That's why I love watching, and I think a lot of people like watching your YouTube videos, is because when you say it yourself, you say, "Oh, these are boring, they're the same shit." I'm like, that's good, that's great,
yeah,
because it's just telling people exactly what you're doing to get to where you need to be.
definitely.
You start off the video, pretty much most videos start off with you on the Stairmaster, like stepping away,
Mm.
and there's not a session that you fucking missed. And I think unfortunately in today's sort of YouTube culture, there's a lot of finding the fucking easiest way to do it as opposed to like doing what's necessary to get there, and that's a little frustrating in my end of things, especially when you see these people having a ton of followings, and people turning up sort of not where they need to be on stage as a result of following these people. But yeah, mate, I know I'm like not blowing smoke up your ass, but you've done a very, very admirable job already, mate, and it's, in my opinion, it's only just fucking begun.
Yeah,
The show has literally only just begun. Like we're very close to the first one, but we've got, as we were talking today, quite a string of events that could be taking place.
yeah, definitely.
So I think I'll go into a little bit of an update on myself in a sec. Not too much has gone on, but one of my sort of thoughts right now with George, actually, just to sort of give a bit of background on where I'm at with George. So obviously we're checking on Tuesday anyway, but sort of some of my current thoughts is that whilst we're at a position where we're trying to sort of bring down as many stresses as possible, one of the remaining stresses that we're dealing with at the moment is your expenditure, because you are pushing very, very hard. Like I don't think a lot of people realise how difficult level 12 on the Stairmaster is for 30 minutes. I don't think people realise how difficult that is,
No.
unless they've tried it, which not many people have. Like, trust me, like I've tried level 11 for 30. That's like my max threshold. I know how hard going up another level is, so I know how taxing that session is for you. So I think the next step that I'll be making with George most likely is not necessarily removing cardio in the sense of pulling it away completely. That most likely won't happen. But actually just removing down the intensity a little bit and actually pulling him back down some levels. And I know that will psychologically be a bit hard for George to do, but it will be very beneficial from potentially bringing back a little bit more, even more life to his legs, because I actually believe that there's still a lot more detail in your legs that's potentially hidden by some of that swelling and soreness that you're creating by basically being fucking Mo Farah most mornings, mate.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's realistically, like, it's been amazing in terms of achieving fat loss. It's worked really well for you, and I think the people that poo-poo the Stairmaster often turn up out of shape on stage and just use the structure filters to try and make themselves look like they are in shape. But we can't say that too often on air because we'll just get outed by all the people that send all of our stuff to them. So, but we're allowed to have a fucking opinion. So, but anyway, just work for George in terms of his expenditure, and actually, it's worked for your logbook as well. Funnily enough, mate, because all your lower body lifts have either been mostly retained or actually the pendulum has been progressed. You've dropped off a bit on the hack.
Yeah.
But you like everything else from a leg development standpoint has held, and like we talked about, I think if anything, maybe even the stairs has added some glute tissue at some point during a prep.
Literally, what I was going to say.
Because
I believe
they've stayed, haven't they?
I believe, literally, I was going to say, I believe that the Stairmaster has actually contributed to why I'm not saying my legs are the greatest, of course, they're not the greatest, but I do believe it's contributed to my leg development over this prep. And a lot of people, I do get a lot of questions going, George, how can you do level 12 on the Stairmaster 30 minutes, no hands? I could probably do level 13 if I'm honest with you.
Could,
I probably definitely could push that. But guys, you need to remember that I have been prepping since January. I've been doing Stairmaster at least 3 or 4 times a week since January. If I can't do it by now, I'd be fucking worried. It takes time. It takes time. Like, I remember starting off at level 8, absolutely dripping in sweat, dying.
And your lower back was fucked as well.
Yeah, I had to hold on at the beginning of my prep. And now, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And just you'll find that your fitness will get better, your endurance get better. And like I said, the more you do it, the more you just get on with it, and it just gets easier. But like I said, I always tell people, remember, I've been doing this for 6-7 months now. If I couldn't do it by now, I'd be fucking worried. So again, if you start now, give it 6 months, you'll be where I am in regards to the stem. I'm not bigging myself up because it's not really I guess it's something to be proud of, but yeah, I don't mind doing cardio, mate. I fucking enjoy it.
No,
like you said on your Instagram this morning.
Yeah,
you enjoy it. You enjoy it. Like,
I
always learn something new.
And I think it's something we'll keep him for your off season as well, because it's for us as well. Like it's a time of the day where we kind of get out of our own space a little bit, outside of just going to the gym, and it's that opportunity, like we talked about on your YouTube video and my Instagram story, about just like that opportunity for self-development where you can't do fucking programming or a check-in on the Stairmaster. It's impossible.
No way.
But you can watch a YouTube video, or you can listen to an audiobook, or I actually got that originally. I don't know whether you followed Matt when he was prepping, but I watched like all of Matt Ogus's preps, like the Muscle Mayhem preps, like even the ones like way back in like 2014. I watched all of them. His most recent prep, like, you should bring him up. That you'd like them. Bring up his old videos. Like I think he called it like August 2.0 or something. His old prep. Those vlogs were insane. Like, they were very good, dude, and they got like thousands of views.
Really?
There were some of his best vlogging was when he vlogged his like 2.0 prep.
Really?
So definitely check it out. Watch it when you're on the stairs or something.
I watch sometimes I'm pre-workout. I don't know why, but I've watched your Boston Bound series.
So basic, isn't it?
I've watched it like 3 times. It's very basic, but I've watched it like 3 times because I don't know why. I just relate to it so much more now.
I bet you
like
do.
When I watched it when you was doing the Worlds, I was just watching it, but now I can actually sit there and go, fuck, like, I relate to it, and it motivates me like fucking crazy. I don't know why.
All of the same mannerisms will be in those videos, man. Like,
I relate
the way
to
that
exactly
I speak, everything will be so similar, because you're just the same dugout feeling of like energy being absolutely in the gutters. But that was a fun vlog to make.
There was one part of it which made me laugh. I watched it last week, and it was like, what day is it? And you didn't even edit out. You're sitting there for like 15 seconds. Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. I'm thinking, oh my God, like,
it's exactly the same.
I relate to it so much. But if I was sitting there, I was thinking, this geezer's. If I was sitting there a year ago watching it, I was thinking, this geezer's fucking clueless. What's going on?
Fucking nut.
I relate to it so much more now, which is great.
No, I agree.
But
yeah.
Speaking about me for 20 minutes or so now, so tell us about yourself. Tell us about that Apple Watch as well. I want to know about.
Sure. So for anyone who's on YouTube, I've got an Apple Watch I'm showing to the screen. So I'm good, by the way, mate. So I have obviously now done 5 weeks of mini cutting. So I'm in my last week. This will be my last week coming up prior to going on holiday. So it kind of worked how I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it pre-holiday anyway. One, to just like feel a little better when I went away, and also because it just was timely. It needed to be done anyway, and Danny was doing one, and obviously for some reasons Danny is not continuing her mini cut, which I think is really like a good choice. And any females listening, like, definitely please do follow Danny. Her Instagram's just at Danny Bosworth. and she's going through a period of basically trying to recover some health markers. Nothing super serious, but ones that she wants to make sure that are in place for 2020, and her ability to prep being very good, because I think a lot of females listening to this will just push regardless of their situation, and that's poor negligence on the coach, in my opinion, and also the female themselves. I mean, ultimately it's down to the females themselves. Like, if you know you have an issue and you're not willing to correct it, or say no to something, like, for example, like, Danny wants to prep in 2020 more than fucking anything. So she'll do whatever it takes, including dropping training frequency, volume, etc., to get there, you know. So she's a prime example of someone that's, like, without blowing smoke up her arse, like, a very, very fucking good athlete. Because that's what makes an athlete. Someone who's purely focused on the end goal, so focused on the end goal that they're willing to do less to get there, as well as doing more, which I think is far, like, not enough seen in the industry, and that's something I think is learned over experience. I mean, mate, I'm very similar to you, so, you know, me telling you, like, about, like, doing more and things like that, I'm the type that will just do more, you know, more and more and more, and try and get away with more and more and more. And something I need to learn about being an athlete is when to do less and when to back off, and sometimes you learn your lessons the hard way and things like that, which I certainly have already in a few instances. But anyway, I'm going on about talking about someone else when I'm meant to be talking about myself. So not very good at it. Minicut almost is done. My weight really hasn't moved over the last, like, week and a half, to be honest. It's really stayed the same, but I have been waking up quite a lot earlier, and I know this myself, that when I start waking earlier, I'm going to be heavier. Like, I'm not eating my last meal super early. I mean, in prep, mate, we were discussing this in your last check. In prep, I was eating my last meal at, like, 6:30, and then, like, finishing meals by 6:30. I can't fathom doing that at the moment. It just doesn't make sense to me. But at that point, it was, like, the only way I could get through the day. Like, my meal timings were 10 a.m. was meal 1 on prep, and then meal 2 pre-workout was like 12:30. Then I'd have my intra during training, and I'd be back home by about 4:30. I'd have my post-workout around about 4:30, 5. I'd do a half an hour treadmill walk. About half an hour after that, it's my PM walk. And then straight after that, I'd be preparing, like, the last meal, which would be the egg whites, courgette and the egg whites with the paprika, smoked paprika, and the oats, and I have that like 6:30, 7, watch an episode of Suits and go to bed. Like, that was the routine. It was just like clockwork. Obviously I had a lot less clients back then, because the ability to work around that schedule was just like, I had like a slot that very, and I'm sure you're the same right now, like that very early morning slot that was the most productive, and I see, like, both you and Bridgman taking advantage of that now, and I'm like, yep, that's the way it works. Like, your alertiveness, your cognitive function in the morning during prep is actually something quite nice. Like, you feel almost, there's some days where you just feel like shit, and you're just like, wow, everything's fucked, everything's gone down the drain, you can't do shit, can't focus on anything, and that's normal. But there's some days where you actually feel like quite fucking euphoric, like the feeling of like immense like fatigue and hunger actually just creates a crazy feeling of like really wacky focus. And you feel like you're on like some sort of drug, something in the morning. You just crack through a load of work, and you're like super, super productive. You said it in one of your videos. You're like, after a good session, you got this like random feeling of adrenaline, and you just got loads of shit done. I remember so many days like that, and then so many days where you feel like complete crap. So, but yeah, so. Anyway, on the topic of weighing in earlier, so yeah, weighing in earlier a little bit, and just sort of experiencing no real scale weight loss, but I took obviously I put up most of my photos on Instagram the other day, and notably leaner, I think, in most areas, and it's just nice to see that, you know, like, for example, mate, like, the lowest I've weighed in the mini cart was like one morning at like 8:30, 9 a.m. at like 179. That's the lowest I've weighed so far. And last mini cart, I got down to like 169, and the aim for this mini cart was like mid 170s, which I don't think I'm even going to make. But that's, in my opinion, I think that's kind of a good thing, because if it means that I'm like in a position like right now where, you know, I've got fairly visible abs and, you know, some quad detail, You know, my back's looking relatively lean. It's not lean by any means, but it's relatively lean. And I'm like, I weighed in at like 182 this morning, you know, at like 5:30 in the morning. And to have that kind of body composition at this weight is like it's unforeseen for me, mate. Like the last prep, I started at this body weight and it was fat. It was like it was legit fat. It was like no detail at all. And it just gives me confidence that I think starting at this body weight would mean that probably have about 30 pounds to lose to get into pretty decent condition, and maybe 35 to get it absolutely all off. So that's good, and that's obviously given me the perspective on things like, you know, obviously in my head it would be, then there's lots of people that say on Instagram, oh, push to 200, like 200's this like fucking magical number that somehow grants you more muscle mass. Well, great. If I push to 200, I won't make stage condition, and that's not going to win me anything, is it? So I think thinking a bit more sensibly, and probably the rest of the year will look like taking my body weight back up to where it was, just nice and steadily, and getting calories nice and high again, and having some really productive training, because training was productive at like 190-ish. The only issue I think was aerobic fitness, like aerobic capacity. I think I just neglected that a little bit too much, and you know, resting heart rate was climbing, fitness was getting really bad, and therefore after a session I was wondering why I just couldn't eat. The reality was that just my aerobic capacity wasn't good enough to bring my heart rate down a baseline fast enough for me to regain appetite. That's basically why my appetite stalled, and I think it's a lot of the reasoning why keeping some form of aerobic work in, as much as people say, oh, well, it takes away from your ability to perform volume. Well, if you can't eat, volume's going to go do shit because you can't get your food in. So you're not going to grow regardless. So, I think that the goal now will be realistically take body weight up to like 190-ish. Again, make 190 look better, of course, and then hopefully by that point it'll be sort of Christmas time, and then I'll sort of like assess as to whether doing like a January short diet to 180 would be good. And then once I've done that January short diet to 180, I'd probably use February to maintain, and then I'll start my prep March, which is what I kind of did last time anyway, but starting fatter. So that's realistically the goal, mate. And obviously I go on holiday pretty much this time in a week-ish. I go on holiday not this coming Tuesday, but the one after, and then I get back literally Tuesday of your first peak. So I will be fucking fresh mentally and physically to be, because I did it on purpose this holiday. I made sure that I was taking a break from, because what I'm basically doing is, besides my contest prep athletes, all of my other clients that are non-contest prep are not checking in. So I'm doing basically a week of very, very little work, so I can focus in on what I've got to do, because these next months are big. Like, they're big fucking months. I have to make them count. So I have to be on it. Like, making really good decisions, being fresh mentally. I'm probably going to take a form of a deload across the holiday as well. So I'll probably do like 2 to 3 sort of more fluffy full body workouts, because I need a deload anyway, mate. Like, today's a rest day, and I'm like, like this week.
I know the feeling.
This week is going to be hard, kind of thing. But I'm going to do it because it's one more week, and I'm just going to be really careful with my warm-ups, and touch wood, I won't get injured. I mean, I was feeling more injured 2.5 weeks ago than I'm feeling now, so that's a good thing. More injured, great. But that's the plan. And then obviously on the holiday I'll still be checking in with like contest prep athletes, because they just need their updates, and you know, you need your update. Every contest prep athlete needs their update. And then going into your peaks, like we discussed today, it will be a fairly simple process for you, because we won't really be doing much, especially for your first few. We won't really be manipulating much at all. We'll just be making sure that we've got the balance between the right amount of muscularity, fullness, and obviously that hard dry look. In my opinion, like off the top of my head, just like I'm throwing like things in my head right now, but what I think might be the best approach is actually running, like, you know, obviously your normal week, but making sure that we have a rest day, just one day out, and running your rest day diet as a control day, that one day out, because you've looked so far your best, I think, combination of fullness and dryness and hardness, just that day after a rest. Usually, like, you look just very crisp, and the fatigue is a little bit lower, and just a really crisp look, but not flat. Like, that was the look the other day that you posted in the Google photos. So I think that would probably be the look that we'll go for. And then if that's not right, then we'll just do something different the next time. And you'll probably, like we talked about today as well, like following literally I'll probably have George literally like wake up like it's another day. So wake up, and if that means getting his morning steps, he'll do his morning steps to increase like blood volume and get some oxygenated blood to tissue, and get his posing done in the morning as he normally would, get normal hydration in, normal meal one, like everything normal, like literally just wake up like a normal day. The only thing that we'd just keep an eye on is fluid and making sure he's not having too much, so he's not distended. Fruit and, well, not fruit because we're going to discuss that in a bit, but veg will be down a little bit, and just making sure that we prioritise keeping the midsection really, really tight, because midsection is something we've struggled with a little bit, haven't we, in terms of just not like just connecting with it, and also just it like sticking out a little bit in poses. Just because I think that's something that we maybe need to assess in the off season in terms of just developing the core. Maybe it's just not thick enough yet, but we'll see.
I know the exact reason why. Wearing a belt.
Yeah, potentially.
Guilty.
Yeah.
I'm very guilty. Like the other day, I did the pendulum and the hack squat without a belt on, and my midsection after doing that set was fucking like I'd done a set of ab crunch. I woke up next day, my midsection was sore.
Yeah, interesting.
And yeah, I know exact reason why. I've been relying on that fucking belt, and I told myself this week of training, I didn't use my belt once.
I know, because there was a time where you were even wearing it on like push, wasn't there?
Yeah, with you, yeah,
good,
yeah. Yeah, and once you start relying on it, it's kind of like one of those things that you just start needing. Like, started wearing wrist wraps and stuff like that, and I mean, I don't really need wrist wraps. I don't know why I'm wearing them, so I thought, fuck, I'm going to take them off. Relying on things like that, and you constantly the more you rely on that stuff,
it's a dead end. Once you start really sort of like creating a reliance tool on things like that, you are getting yourself into a bit of shit, I think. But yeah, agreed. Cool.
Yeah, but with your mini cut and stuff like that, I definitely think when it comes to like CV work and stuff, what you always find is that you always learn when you go back in your surplus. You'll always learn something new for your deficit.
Yes.
And when you're in your deficit, you'll always learn something that you can implement into your surplus. So I always make sure that I'm aware. Like, CV work is definitely something which I want to try and keep within my surplus, because just generally, like, my health and just like my resting heart rate, I feel amazing.
You're very fit right now.
Fit, like my resting heart rate is like low 40s, which is fucking crazy.
Very good.
And just little bits and bobs like that, if that can help in any particular way in my surplus, then brilliant. So always take a note of what you have learned in your deficit that you can implement in your surplus, and vice versa when it comes to deficit. But yeah, I can. Again, with body weights as well. Like, I know you set yourself out like with the body weight goal of being like 100 mid 175 pounds or wherever it was. I get clients come to me and say, look, I want to get to this particular weight, and I think, yeah, it's great having that goal, but you'll be surprised how much can change in such a short period of time. That's why I never set weight goals for clients, anything like that, because you'll be surprised. Like with yourself, you look better. Well, you look like right now, like I wouldn't go any lighter if I was you.
Yeah.
What is the point? There's no point. So it's crazy how people set yourself body weight goals, and I can understand from a motivational standpoint, but so much changes in such a short period of time. But I'm telling me I'll be on stage in mid 130s. That's another like
not gonna
50.
happen. Not gonna happen, man. Not gonna happen. The crazy thing that I think is one of the most shocking things about your prep is, like, I thought you'd have to lose so much more than what you've actually lost. Like, when you put up a photo and you I think you said the weight difference, like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't look normal. It does not look normal at all. Like, it looks like you've lost way more than you've actually lost. I think maybe that's down to partially at play. Like, obviously, like, I know, like, it would be nice to say that you maybe built some muscle and things like that, but I think the reality is partially it's down to your height and the fact that, you are comparatively to someone taller, you're gonna lose less. So that's one of the things that's playing a role in the fact that it's not so much of a shocking weight loss as someone who would be taller. You know, I'm gonna have guys on stage. Like I've got one of my clients like Jermaine, who's like, you know, he's still a good way off. He's like 10, 15 pounds off if we can get it off him, and he's already lost 40 pounds. You know, and I told him it's gonna be like a 50-pound prep, and I was like, you better fucking fasten your seatbelt, kiddo, because this is gonna be like Biggest Loser kind of shit here. Like this is gonna be tough. But he's done it. Like he's got his head down and done it. But you know, losing that amount of weight is not the best way to do a contest prep. You know, you want to be losing an appropriate rate, but you know, not that much. It's just dragging performance off you, and it's also dragging you through the gutters as well. It's really making the process very, very hard.
That's one thing which I've learned. If I do my next prep, I want to start in a fairly not leaner, but I want to start in a leaner position so I don't have to prep so long.
I think a shorter prep would probably be the thing that I would say that probably would be the best option for you next time. I think.
And would you agree with yourself as well, based upon your because you did like 9-week prep, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, in total, yeah. I think if I was to say, like, I think I don't ever want to show up at any show like out of condition at all. So I think for a first show, I'd still look at doing at least 20, if not close to 25. And then the thing is, it just depends how many you string together. So if you string together, you know, like a qualifier, a British, a Worlds, and then that amount of time is just crazy. Trying to string together those shows. I mean, for most people, even trying to string together enough momentum to get to a British is tough psychologically. Like, you do your first show, you get a bit of momentum, and you're like, fuck, like 6 weeks to the British, 7 weeks to the British. But, you know, it is what it is, mate. You know, like, unfortunately, the way the season has worked out, unless you want to show up out of shape at a qualifier, you've got to kind of be quite lean for quite a long period of time, and that's going to take probably quite a lot of time of dieting as well, which you're going to experience. You know, your prep in total is going to be over 40 weeks in length. You know, and that's a long time in a deficit for sure.
Of course.
But, you know, with food up now already, you're putting yourself in a great position at this point. It's just okay. We don't know how the body's going to respond over the next 2 months or so. We can only just go by what we see and make the best out of it.
Because you find some people just get worse; they just fade. No matter how much food you put them on, no matter what the protocol you put in place, some people just fade,
100%.
and that's it. Kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But with performance, like performance in your logbook is normally the sign of the fade, and also very much so is adherence too. So you'll find a lot of people that actually fade because they're doing it to themselves. Like after every show, they'll go out and eat a huge meal, and they'll gain like 5-6 pounds, and then they'll have to work that 5 or 6 pounds off, which is just every time you do that, you're just working off more muscle mass because you've gained no muscle mass out of pushing up that 5-6 pounds. You've gained like purely water and body fat, definitely some body fat, and then you're just pulling it off again with the same amount of muscle. So you're gonna have to sacrifice some more muscle fullness and actual muscle tissue to get it all off again. So it's a very, very sort of frustrating process when people do that. And I tell clients time and time again, if you overeat and you go up in the scale weight, you're going to look continually worse for the rest of the season, and that's your choice. It's like on you. So as long as the client realizes that it's on them and it's their fucking mistake if they look shitter for the rest of the year, then that's fine. You know, can I just have a Nando's with my family? Yeah, cool. Like, just have a Nando's. And Nando's turns into something else all the fucking time. The best people that I've prepped this year are the people that I've just told to go home and have their usual last meal. That's what the best thing. Or go home and like have I know it sounds ridiculous, but have as many oats as you want. Because let's say you go out for a meal with your family, like even if you go for like let's say you go for like a no bones platter or something at Nando's, and you like that's like 1,000 calories. Go home and try and eat 1,000 calories from oats. Like, I know that you think you could, but you'll get halfway through that bowl and you won't be able to stomach it. Your stomach will explode. So you're not going to overeat crazily on something like oats, like oats and a load of fruit or something like that. You're just not going to overeat on it.
Yeah.
So I think focusing on creating a post-show plan, if the goal is to do plenty of shows, is huge. So that's probably the reason why I was able to hold on to my look for as long as I did. Is because every show that I did, I came home and I just went straight back on plan, straight back on plan, straight back on plan.
Yeah.
And loads of people gave me shit for that. I got loads of shit for it. Why aren't you going out for a meal? Why aren't you going out for a meal? Go out for a meal with your family. I'm like, fuck off. Like, I'll go out for a meal when I'm done. I wasn't done yet. Was not finished. And it seems to be this sort of tradition for people to go out for this crazy meal post show. And it's just not needed. If you want to do more shows, that is.
Yeah, I agree. People always ask me, "What are you going to eat post show and stuff?" I want a bigger bowl of oats.
Yes.
I want a bigger bowl of oats. That's all I want.
Perfect.
Get back to it. Like,
yes.
I'm competing in 3 weeks' time. I'm not going out for a fucking meal when I'm competing the following weekend. No, I'm going straight back onto plan. I'm going home, going to bed. I'm not thinking about any of that shit until I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to a point where you've been prepping so long that shit I don't sit here and crave pizza. Yeah, we're nice. Yeah, it'd be lovely, but I don't sit here and crave because I've got so used to eating the same old shit all the time that you just get on with it. You're used to it, you know. You don't sit here and crave that type of shit anymore, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Should we answer some questions? I mean, we've got about like 20 minutes left, but we'll answer some.
We spent 40 minutes. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and get.
First? I've got them up right in front of me, so I'll go first. So, Christian asks, one gym in the UK that you'd train at for the rest of your life. If you could choose one gym, what would you train at for the rest of your life? I know exactly where I'd train, but you let me know.
I'd probably train at Flexitime.
Yes, good.
When I was up there, it was so good.
So good.
It's such a shit out, but it was just so good. It's just that's what I love. Yeah. It was just, honestly, especially with the smashed glass, and we were just walking around in our barefoot, and we're thinking, "Cool, they've got like someone's shot like a shotgun through these bloody windows." I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it's just great. When I went in there, it was just so great. Flexitime for sure is definitely where I would. It's definitely,
I agree. If any of you guys haven't been to Flexitime, get yourself there. Like, make it a box tick kind of thing. You have to go. It's so fucking good.
Okay, so Cameron asks, after a cutting phase, how much would you increase calories by when transitioning into a bulk?
Oh, jeez.
So what's your approach?
Well, obviously, it's like a crazy individual, but I would say that usually it looks anywhere between, a mini cut into a gaining phase. For me, the mini cut's been so aggressive in its nature that I'll have to do at least a 700 calorie jump to get into at least maintenance or a surplus. At least it's probably looking more like 1,000 calories, to be honest. So yeah, it depends on how harsh you've gone with the deficit and how severe the mini cut deficit is to comparatively to how much you're going to have to increase calories. But I'd say, obviously the whole goal with the mini cut has been to resensitize and get yourself back into a position where you can gain. So you need to think about almost doing a bit of more of a conservative approach than you would with a post-show period, because post-show is not about getting sensitive, it's about getting the fuck out of what the hole you've created.
Yeah.
So it's about getting actual body fat on quite fast. Whereas the mini cut, the last thing you want to do is get body fat on fast, because you'll just be mini cutting again. So yeah, I'd say be a little bit more cautious than you would be post-show. So depends on your size and how much of a deficit you created, but just bump your calories up by anywhere between 500 and 800 calories and see what the scale does, and just go from there. And again, every question like this, it's you just react with the scale. You don't do anything else. Just use the scale as your main sort of data collection tool, and react accordingly.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. I have a question from Sandro, who asked, not seeing George eat any fruit, just wonder why he doesn't include it in his diet. I know your situation with fruit, and I know your opinions on fruit.
I mean, I've never been keen on fruit. Actually, I'll tell you what, I bought a packet of blueberries the other day, and I sprinkled about 50 grams of it on top of 50 grams, and I saw this 7 grams carbs. I was thinking 7 grams for 50. Like, I just looked at it and I was just like, no, like that's 7 grams. I just don't want to waste on bloody blueberries. And I thought I'd have one, so I
Yeah,
weighed out one and just tracked it as one. I was just like, no, just
don't
no.
like it.
Threw it straight in the bin. I was like, no, I'm not having the fruit. I'm not having
This
the
is
fruit.
something we
But
have to work on in your off season. Like, we'll have
yeah,
to slowly introduce some good fruits into your diet and try and make you like them in some sort of way. But
I,
now,
I,
obviously, like, you know, you're getting such a diversity of vegetables in. I'm not particularly worried. It would be nice to see a bit of fruit in the diet. Just like it was like mind blowing when Thorburn put some like 20 grams of mixed berries on his cream of rice. I was
yeah,
like, whoa, mind blowing.
yeah,
But yeah, I on the other hand are like a massive fruit fan. Like
yeah.
like on a rest day, for example, like today, like I've like no word of a lie, I've had way over a kilogram of fruit. Because like there's like for me, it's like pretty much my main carb source on a rest day. It's like legit, it's my carb source. But the thing is, mate, like, okay, so this is the way I see it. I'll just pull it up on my fitness pal. So you're having oats, yeah, which like might be, I don't know, let's say you have 100 grams of oats. It's like anywhere between like 65, 70 carb, yeah. So
Mm,
if you have 400 grams of blueberries, 400 fucking grams of blueberries, which is a lot.
mm,
Like especially frozen blueberries, not like not just fresh, because fresh don't taste good, man. Like you need to get frozen; it's much better. That's 36 grams of carbs. So 36
yeah,
grams of carbs are 400 grams worth of fruit, and it obviously it's fibrous as well, so it actually really fills you up. So
mm.
that for me is like a game changer. But if you don't enjoy fruit, the best
No, I
way
don't enjoy it.
the best way to
The
probably just
same.
get it in is like using something like dynamic fruits and greens or something, just so
Yeah,
you're maybe covering some phytonutrients and antioxidants you might be missing as a result of just getting veg in.
yeah. I've never been keen on it. Not gonna lie, I haven't saying that. I haven't been spontaneous. It's just you don't know if you're gonna like it or not, so you don't really kind of. Some fruits I look at, I think, no, I ain't gonna like that. It's
Mm,
just having the bollocks to actually try. And I think sometimes I remember back in the days where I actually didn't even used to like oats, and the more I had
wow.
it, the nicer they got. And I think it might be a case of the more you have it, the nicer it may be. But whilst I'm on prep, I don't want to start implementing different foods, and I'm scared if I'm going to have a reaction to it, man, or anything like that. I just want to keep it. I've been doing the
Reaction
same
to a
old shit.
banana, man.
Yeah, I've having the
You
same old
hated
shit
banana,
for
didn't
20
you?
whatever week.
I remember
I
you
used to
put
hate
banana
banana,
in
I used to
oats.
gag. But yeah, I don't mind. But it depends on the actual banana. Whether it's people put like the hard green shit in a like when the banana's green, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
People do that. Okay, so it's actually my client Reese. He asked sports and RIR RIR
I answered this in my last
RIR.
podcast. Skip it.
Okay.
Yeah, I answered that in my last
How do you
podcast.
how do you gain how do you regain lost motivation from Elliot Roy 1? How do
What
you
did
regain?
say? It was lost motivation.
Yeah, how do you gain? Yeah, lost motivation.
Well, I think it's important to realise that we all go through phases of lacking motivation and lacking drive. Like, it's not like we're all internally or
Hmm.
externally motivated all the time. But I'd say sometimes taking yourself out is a little bit of a good thing. Like, taking yourself out of the thing that you're not motivated for anymore. For me, for example, like, I absolutely love, like, my clients. And I love the check-in process. And I love everything about it. But when I was doing it non-stop, like 7 days a week, kind of got like a bit I dread some days, like when it was really busy and I knew that I had to be very focused the whole day. I kind of dread some of those days, and I started to realize that that's not a good thing. So I made sure that Saturdays now, like, I literally do 2 check-ins in the morning. That's it. That's all. I'm done. And that's a super super low check-in day for me. But
Yeah.
I used to have days where I'd have no check-ins at all. Because that's the way that I'd split my clients. But now I don't have the feasibility to do that, and that's fine. But like motivation on that side of things, I think it's important to take time off. Likewise for training, like taking days off and deloading is very important for motivation. I think that's why I think you as well, when you're in the off season, we do deload you. We will take the days off approach, because I think going to the gym and deloading is just a no-go. Like, it's just not going to
Mm.
happen. It's just not fun for you, and you'll actually drive down motivation. more than raise it. When I deload like that in the typical manner, like reducing volume, reducing work sets, it's just horrendous. Like I want to get out of there immediately, and I don't want to. I don't like. All I want to do is just train hard, and I just can't do it. And that kind of answers the RIR question. Like, if I was to train and have a prescribed amount that I had to leave in the tank that day, I wouldn't want to go. Bottom line, I just wouldn't want to be in there. No chance. No chance to be going. And I know that everyone says it's still hard training, but it's not training to me. Like, that's not, it doesn't define training to me. Like, it's not training. That's not training at all. And I know that fatigue management is very important. I'm very aware of that. But for me, I just can't fathom going in for a session and not absolutely giving it everything that I've got. And I'm sure you are the same. So it's the same that applies to sort of motivation levels when they're low. When they're low, it's just, okay, cool. See you later, Jim. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah, like, how motivated are you after, like, when I take a rest day like today? Like, how excited are you to get back into the gym tomorrow just by having one day off?
Can't wait. Can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, one day. That's like when you takes. And we're both in deficits, you know.
Yeah, but that third day of you training in a row, you're kind of like, motivation ain't nowhere near as high. I think. Yeah. As well as that, the motivation, I've always said, just set yourself a fucking goal. Like, so many people don't know what their goal is. They haven't got a goal in mind. What is the short term, immediate? So just write down what you want to achieve and just find, a direction or find pathways in order for you to get to that goal. So, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I found that that's worked for me. That definitely helped me at uni when it comes to just motivation to go and do the work. If I knew I had a plan in place, I was more motivated to do it, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I would recommend as well as taking a little bit of time off the gym, and almost as soon as you take 4 or 5 days off the gym, fucking hell, how much do you want to go back?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Even one day for me, I want to go back. It's mad. So hopefully that answers your question.
I'll take another one. Is George still smoking cannabis this deep into prep?
No,
good idea, because it's not great.
Be on the safe side.
Yeah, be on the safe side.
I'm taking CBD oil, but
it's fine. The only issue with cannabis and natural bodybuilding, and from what I know with WADA, is directly prior to or in the night prior to a polygraph. That's it.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't. But you're not going to have a polygraph until the British finals, so you're fine.
Yeah.
There was another one. Will you continue to coach George in the off season? I think I know the answer to this. Pretty sure.
Yes, I've answered that before. Yes, sure, definitely. Yeah, I've never been coached in the off season before, so
I think it will work well for at least a bit until you're happy to take the reins yourself, and for as long as you want to be coached by myself and learn from me and adapt principles, and obviously even throughout this prep, we've gone back and forth with things, haven't we, son? So in the off season we'd do the same. It wouldn't be like just do this. It would be like, okay, let's go back and forth a little bit and find something that works.
Yeah. If you could both change something about the bodybuilding industry, what would you do? That's
a really good question.
I actually don't know.
I think I'd have more. I'd like people to be more honest, and I'd like people to be more realistic in some aspects as well. Like, what really sort of angers me is when people get very unrealistic about what they will do or confirm that they will do, when in reality, they need to be a little bit more level-headed with realism, because the fake side of that and the reality of them saying they'll do all of these things is detrimental in so many ways, because it's confirming that they will do something. Vision is great, having a visualization, having an end goal, and having something you're working towards is fantastic, and even saying what you potentially want to achieve is fucking awesome. But saying that you will, categorically will achieve something, in my opinion, is just void, because you don't know that. You can't know that. It's impossible to know that. If I was to say now I will be a professional natural bodybuilder in 2020, that's impossible to say. I would like to be, and that's my goal. But I'm not going to put it out there that I will be. I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to be, but I don't know whether I will be or not. So I think a bit more realism would be nice, because it rubs off on people. Like, it means that other people that don't have the place to be setting such goals are setting these kind of goals. And what happens, George, when someone sets that kind of goal? Incredible upset. Incredible loss of motivation. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot more people with that, where they set these unfathomable goals, or they're forced down the route of setting a goal so high, and a pressure of so high, and they're told they can achieve it, and they don't get it. It's not nice. Like, I've told a few of my clients what their potential is, and I even told fucking, like, you today. Like, I was honest with you with a situation that we've got right now, with who you'll potentially be competing against. And I told you point blank that this is going to be a situation. And I won't talk about it on air, but, like, I told you point blank about the situation, and you were like, yep, I agree. Because you're like, you're realistic. Yeah. You're very realistic. Yeah. But we don't know. We don't know. Like, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And that's just the way that I'd like maybe things to go a bit differently. Like, obviously there's people that have the right and a place to be a bit more outlandish with their comments and their views. So, for example, if Ben Howard said, I will be 2-time lightweight world champion, I'd be like, yeah, cool, you probably will be. Because, like, he's already done it. And it's like the goal is realistic. If Phil Heath says he's going to win another Olympia, it's realistic. It's like, but putting, like, these goals out there, especially, like, with people, like, clients and stuff, it's like, it's almost a bit worrying that this is going to be the situation. And I just think it would upset me if I was told I was going to do something and I didn't do it. You know? So I think you agree with that one, because we talked about it before.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. I think one of my things is probably people getting recognised for doing the things correctly. Like, for example, Bridgman. I like the way he's gone on about his assisted side. I just think it hasn't been recognised enough for me. Like, too many people want to watch, for example, let's just use Brandon as an example again. Like, and people are influenced by that and don't have a clue, like, what they should be doing, how they should be doing it correctly. Like, I'm not saying that my prep is the way you should be doing it. However, I just think that if someone can actually learn, and if I can showcase how to do things the most efficiently, instead of doing, a crash diet of 1,000 calories per day and, 1,000 calories of cardio per day 2 weeks out from your show, and instead showing you that actually if you give yourself more time, you could be on the situation of me where I'm not doing crazy amounts of output and I'm still eating over 3,000 calories. Yeah. I just wish that kind of had the recognition, but people are going to follow the people that have, done this crash diet sort of thing, and thinking, I don't know, I just want people to be recognise
the realism of what it actually takes.
Yeah, and I don't think that gets enough credit, if I'm honest with you. So that's kind of.
But it will do, mate. I promise you, it will do. I will. Like this year. This year is going to be your year in so many ways, and whether or not you realise it yet, I don't care, but it will be. It will be, mate. It absolutely will be. So, yeah, man. Should we take one more and then we'll finish up?
Yeah, we'll take one more.
I've got one if you want me to pull one up.
Yeah, you go for one on your end. I think mine we've gone through these, and you've gone through these before.
Okay, cool. Let's talk a good one. Alright, so after this year of competing, you have a 5-year goal in the pipeline. This is Alex, by the way, who we trained with. He's asking sort of like, so you've competed this year. What's the goal after that from a competitive standpoint and also a business standpoint over like the next 5 years? What's your like sort of 5-year goal? Where do you want to be in 5 years? George.
I would like to be
famous.
I'd like to be. Not gonna lie, yeah, I'd love to be famous. I would love to be famous. When I was younger, I always wanted to be famous. I don't know why. I always just wanted to be. I would like to take my YouTube full time, definitely for sure. One day that would be fucking absolutely amazing. I want to be I just want to be an entertainer, an influencer, but doing things more relatable. Like, I've watched so many people, like Christian Guzman. I watch his stuff; it's like a bloody movie. I'm
Fucking
thinking,
hell, mate, it
cry.
is. I
Yeah,
watched his show day
like a
one
movie.
just to watch the production of it. I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is
It's
this?
like, yeah,
Like,
I sit here and go,
wow.
Christ, my life is nothing like that. But I just want to be not I just want to be an influencer and influence people, but not change the way I am and change like this current situation I'm in, if that makes sense. But just have that following behind me.
Yes.
So that's kind of the goal. From a business standpoint, I would love to be. I would love to be I would love to prep. Like I'd love to be like a Matt Jadson or a competition prep coach, if you want to call it that. I would love to do that,
Yes.
but I definitely
More than
believe that
possible.
you need to. I don't know why, but I feel like don't get me wrong. I'm competing because of myself, and I want to do it for myself. But I'm also actually doing it from a business standpoint as well.
Good
Because
decision.
if I can get some that experience underneath my belt, the audience are going to be more attracted. Like they've seen how I can get into shape. People are influenced by that,
Mm.
and I'm finding now that I'm getting more inquiries about competition prep, coaching, and all that type of stuff just through me prepping. If that makes sense. So I definitely am competing to increase my following's gone up through just doing it as well. Like I've
Oh
gained
yeah. Oh yeah.
crazy amount of following since
Get your
doing it.
ass out and you get loads coming in.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm the type of person. I mean, I just live in the moment. Really, at the moment, I don't
You
really
do.
think about what I'm doing all the time. I just go
It's
take
great.
each day by it is and see how it goes.
It's
That's
perfect.
kind of what I think. How about you? What's your
Five
goal in
years
5 years?
time. 5 years time. So I think I'd like to be in a position where ultimately number one goal is the health of myself, my family, and Danny. I think that's like number one goal is I'd like everyone to be super super healthy. Um,
Yeah,
that's like I don't care about anything else, to be honest. Like reality, like as long as we're all healthy, that'd be great. I'd like to be in a position where I was prepping very high level athletes on a consistent basis. So I'm talking like prepping professionals to the stage. I'd like
mm.
to have I'd like to have made professionals as well. So I'd like to have had people that I've worked with and I've taken them from an amateur to a pro to winning pro shows.
Yeah,
I'd love that so much. Like I look up to at the moment probably the biggest person that I look up to in natural bodybuilding is probably Cliff, just because he coaches such a wide plethora of amazing naturals and some assisted too. It's just
yeah,
awesome his job. I want to do more of that, and ultimately, like actually, what motivates me as well is just continuing to do what I'm already doing. I actually love coaching junior bodybuilders. I do believe that consistently year in year out, I'm going to have some of the best juniors in the UK under my coaching. I proved
yeah,
it last year. I had like 4 of the 5 in the BF British finals like were my
yeah,
guys. So I do believe that, and that's not just out of like being lucky. That's about attracting attention and having people's trust. And yeah, I think there was some mistakes that I made there that I learned from, and I think that this year I won't make them. And I'm in a position where the people that I've got are all going to be on the money. Like I'm very confident of that because I've made the right decisions prior to getting them to this stage. And I think that all the people that are going to be in the finals this year are going to be absolutely bang on. And
yeah,
that's my goal this year. 5-year goal, sort of like myself, like obviously I'd love to be a professional natural. I'd like to be by that point. I mean, it kind of like produces a little bit of like a fear in me a little bit as to sort of saying this goal. But I'd like to have won a professional title. I'd like to have won the WNBF Pro Lightweight title by that point.
yeah,
At the Worlds, I'd like to have done what Brian Whittaker has done, like won the like. I'd like to win what Ben Howard won last year, that
yeah.
kind of thing. That's what I'd like to have done in 5 years. So where will that take us? Like 2024, 2025ish. Yeah, that's a very tough goal. I'd like to have done that though by that point.
Mm.
That would be amazing in my books if I'm able to do that. That would be fantastic. Obviously, like training wise, I'd love to be just injury free and being able to train
Yeah,
well and having a great relationship as well. Like from my perspective, I think I've found, like, not to be soppy, but I think I've found someone that I'll be with in 5 years time. Me and Danny literally like when we're on holiday in a couple of weeks' time, it'll be our year anniversary together. I know you just came up to a year with your girlfriend as well. Like, you know, I think when you've been together with someone for a year, especially from like not taking anything away from you guys, but for me and Danny, like we've been living together for like 6 months now, pretty much, and we're obviously moving in together very, very soon, even though we're already kind of doing that. So like to be with someone for that length of time, like every single day, and not like I said to Danny the other day, like me and her have never raised our voices at each other ever in 1 year, like never, like we've never shouted at each other. I think we've gotten upset at each other, like not directly straight at each other, but maybe like something little's happened and it's like got one of us a little bit upset, tiny bit upset. Yeah. I think in the whole year that happened twice, you know, so like to have that kind of relationship is something that I never thought that I would have, actually, to be honest. Yeah. So I'm very confident that will still be something in 5 years' time, to be honest. Here's Danny listening to this saying, fuck no. But no, seriously, like, I think that would be awesome as well. And then obviously, like, you know, like outside of that, like a small goal I've always wanted to have, or own a pretty nice vehicle. I'm very into my cars and my motorsport, and I'd just love to, like, even if it's for just a bit, like just a short period of time, I'd like to own something just silly, like a supercar kind of thing. Just own that for a little bit. I won't keep it for very long. It won't be something that I'd practically use consistently, but it'll be something that I'd just like sort of its return on investment would be fine, and I could just get and then give it back, kind of thing. But that's something I'd always like to do, and just have that for like maybe a year or something, and drive my dad around it, and get my dad insured in it as well, because he loves cars as well. So that would be something that I'd like to do as well, and return the investment that my dad gave to me when I was young in terms of motorsport. He paid out a lot of money to get me through motorsport, so I'd like to do something for him, whether it's something. I don't know whether he'll listen to this, so I don't want to say anything, but I'd like to do something for him to return the investment that he gave me. And that's always something that, actually, funny enough, when I'm working and I'm like gaining momentum with my business, it's always been in the back of my head. Like, he spent thousands and thousands of pounds on me, and I am going to pay that back. In whatever fashion it is. So, that's that. I think that's about
your list sounded so much better than mine, mate. Mine was just me being selfish. And,
shut up.
Right twat.
Shut and you've up. You got first digs, so you got first digs. It's always worse with first digs, because when someone's talking, you're already thinking about your answer.
Yeah.
But man, I think we'll leave that there, because probably people have probably, like, you know, finished their hour of cardio by now. They've been set up for half an hour, and they've gone for an hour at level 12.
I'm gutted, because I'm not going to be able to listen to this whilst doing my cardio, because I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of shit, that, isn't it?
I've got to do some steps anyway. I've got 2,500 steps to do. Nice. So I'll be walking up that hill. Then having
don't get hit by a cow, mate, because...
Oh yeah, fucking hell. Hopefully there's no cows about. Sunday night should be quiet.
Yourself. Mate, why did you do that? Like, you said on your YouTube video, you shut yourself whilst going for steps. Like, what the hell did you do? Like, did you not feel it coming out of you or not?
I thought I'd make it back in time, but I didn't. It was just a nightmare, that. Those poor joggers, well, I used to actually like them joggers. Yeah, they were a mess.
Fantastic. I literally was watching it. I wasn't laughing at the time. I was just like, "You're fucking tall, man. Like, what are you doing?" Like, but fantastic job, you know. Like, that's amazing. I've not heard of anyone.
Highlight of my prep, that.
Just shitting yourself on a walk.
Shitting myself.
I mean, you still got the steps finished. So.
Yeah, can't wait. Luckily, I don't need
extra weight as well, like more resistance. So probably burn more calories. All right, we'll leave it there before we start chatting shit. I'll let George get his steps done, and then we'll be both back in the gym tomorrow after rest day. And and as always, guys, share it around, take a screenshot, put in your stories, kind of thing. We'll probably spend the whole day tomorrow sort of doing story reshares, which is greatly appreciated. And of course, any questions, just ask below. All right, guys, cheers.
All right, see you later.
See you later.
Bye.